Well, hello there. Welcome to this video. This is Craig Hane. My students call me Dr. Dell, and it's December 15th of 2019. We're about to enter a new decade. This happens to be the birthday of my wonderful mother, Ruth Hane. And so I hope that somewhere she can watch this video. Now, what this is about, this is my new website that we recently did, if you've ever been to my website before. And what you have on this website, first of all, is my Vita. And I did this original Vita back in about 2013. And at that point in time, we had just finished the first two tiers of a proposed 6-tier program. And I talked all about my background and where I was born and raised and all the way up through about 2013. And now we're 6 years later, and so I'm going to be adding part 3 to bring you up to date on what has happened since I did this original one. And I'd written a book called Teaching Math in 2011, and I did this Vita in about 2013. And Teaching Math described what I've envisioned and what our mission was and what we wanted to do. And I'm thrilled to say, thank God, we are just about accomplishing what we had set out to do. Now, on my website, there is a video library, and if you click on that, you will go to the video library. And if you don't know me or what we're doing, I would encourage you to watch the first two videos. Incredible 21st Century Math Tools. These revolutionize modern math education and the way math is done, particularly by scientists and engineers. And the second video is called Pedagogy, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it will, I think, display to you and explain to you what is wrong with our current pedagogy in many situations, and also what can be done with modern technology to create truly good pedagogy. So the combination of proper content, utilizing the tools, and proper pedagogy, utilizing modern technology, is critical in math education and is what is revolutionizing math education today. Now, the other thing that you'll get on my website is you could get a new ebook that I've written. And so this is just now coming out at the end of 2019. And if you click on that, you'll go down and see what it is, how and why homeschool math can be vastly superior to public school math, and how and why that can happen. And you can click here to go get the book, and when you go get the book, you will then be able to download it. And this is the book you would get when you go. It's free, of course, and you can either download a PDF of it, it's about 73 pages, or you could just go down and look at the various chapters and listen to them. I've done an audio version of every one of these chapters, so you can read it or you can listen to it. And I've also put in some addendums that I think are very important for many people that you need to know about. In fact, if you're not really interested in the book per se, you might want to watch these addendums. I also put the two videos I mentioned to you earlier as bonuses in this book, because I think if you watch these two videos, the math tools and the pedagogy video, you're going to really understand what's going on in math education today and what should be happening. And I would certainly encourage you then to, if you have a child that needs help, to watch chapter 2 and so on and so forth. I explain all this up here in the beginning. I tell you which chapters are best for parents that have different situations, because students are all different. Now, our corporate website, as I told you in the first two parts, is Triad Math Inc. We incorporated this company back in around 2011, as I recall. And this is our latest website as of late 2019. And you can go there and learn a lot about what this is all about and what our mission is. This is our corporate site. Now, this is not where we normally send people to, but starting in 2016, we have some wonderful people that have started investing in the company financially to let us do what we've done. Because I can tell you, and you're going to probably come to appreciate it as I talk and show you things, we've done a tremendous amount in the last 7 years. I'm very proud of the team that's done it, and I'm very appreciative of all of the supporters we've had, both the stockholders and the stakeholders. Now, today, our number one market that we're going after, because this is the market that really can respond to this, is the homeschool market. And we have a website called Homeschooler Today, and if you go there, you'll learn all about what's going on in homeschool today, why it can be vastly superior, and there's a free resources tab, and if you click on that, that will take you to a website we've created called Learn, Play, Connect that has tons of free resources. And we don't sell anything at this site, we just give a lot of free resources out. Of course, we do have products to sell for sure, and in fact, if you go back to the Homeschooler Today and click on the curriculum, you can go download the syllabus that we have, and this will show you now the program that we sell to homeschoolers or to whoever wants to buy them. Any parent can buy this. This will help any student, and it's a 5-tier program. Actually, there's a 6th tier that isn't listed here, and you can go and look at that and see exactly what this is all about. Tiers 1 and 2 are for practical math. That's what I talked about in the first 2 parts. This is what we had done as of about 2013. But we've been adding more now. Tier 3 gets you ready for the SAT and the ACT tests. And by the way, you don't need very much math for those, but it's a lot of tricky stuff and how to do it. Tier 4 is what gets students really ready then for STEM. If they're going to go and study engineering and science, this is what they really need. And this is radically different than anything that's being taught today in any high schools that I'm aware of. And Tier 5 is calculus, and again, it's radically different in the way it's taught. And the one way to see that is to go look at the syllabus. You can download the syllabus, the PDF of it, and when you do, this is the syllabus. Now, I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but you need to study it if you're interested in high school math. We start out and we teach people how to use a scientific calculator, the TI-30XA. This, by the way, is great for students that are afraid of math or don't like math because it's very kinesthetic. They love doing it. It's almost like playing a game. And when they get done with the first 12 lessons even, they know more about using a calculator than almost any adult does. They can do all sorts of things with fractions and decimals, and they know how to do square roots and percentages and how to use the calculator, how to use the memory, and so on and so forth. And by the way, today, at this point in time, we are actually giving away the course of the first 12 lessons, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. But you can continue on, and then you learn all about pre-algebra is really a review of arithmetic rules that they should have learned. This is considered a course for post-elementary students, but we've had students as young as 10 years old go through this successfully, and of course any age then could go through it. Then we teach them the algebra you need for practical math, and believe it or not, there's only 10 lessons involved in this. And people are amazed by that. Well, I thought algebra books were, 300 pages long and big. By the way, we don't use any books. We use notes, videos. Notice every one of these is a video. This is a 9-minute video, a 6-minute, 11-minute. These videos, by the way, today, back when in the old days, they were flash videos, and they ran on our old learning management system. And we're just now, today, starting 2020, in about 2 weeks, introducing our new learning management system. And the videos now are going to be MP4s. And that means they can play on any computer. Flash is being basically discontinued. And so we've got a new learning management system we developed. Here's geometry. These are practical geometry lessons you would use in any practical work. Trigonometry, again, very, very practical. Now, I'll come back in a minute and show you where we go beyond Tier 2, but let me just tell you, we have put these together in a workforce math package with a few additional topics, and if you go to workforcemath.com, this today is the ideal math training for students that aren't going to go to college, but they want to get a career or a job in the technical workforce or the military. This is wonderful, and they can go through this workforce math, even the advanced, all the way through in just really a few weeks' time if they work at it hard. And it's just absolutely a wonderful thing. And it's essentially what we've done through what I was telling you about, what we've done through trigonometry with some special topics thrown in where we teach them some additional things that are valuable in the workforce. Tier 3, as I mentioned, is getting you ready for the SAT. Now, for the first time, we use a textbook. We use wonderful George Simmons, was the most marvelous teacher of the 20th century, in my opinion, for reasons I explain in other videos. And he wrote a book called Pre-Calculus Mathematics in a Nutshell. This is after he wrote calculus, greatest calculus book ever written, the greatest differential equation book, and then the advanced book in topology and modern analysis. Anyway, this book is wonderful. It's only about $15 on Amazon. It's 119 pages long, and we use that in Tier 3 and in Tier 4. I also have to use a lot of custom notes because we're getting you ready for the SAT, and there's a lot of things you got to know about it that aren't in the Simmons book, and so on. And then finally, the part 3 of Tier 3 is getting you ready for the SAT. That's going through a sample test and showing you the tricks of the trade, as it were. And so that's really wonderful for people that are going to go to college and want to do well on the SAT. Now, there's not that much math in this, comparatively speaking, but it's what you need for the SAT. Now, in Tier 4, we're getting you ready for STEM, science and engineering. Now we go through the Simmons book and also do additional things and go into it in a much, much deeper way. This now is really getting you ready for MIT or any other great school that you might want to go to for engineering. And what we do that's amazing, when we get into algebra, in A5 we introduce a tool called Wolfram Alpha. Now, I've talked to you about that on that video about modern 21st century tools. This was introduced in 2009, and this revolutionizes the way you do math. It revolutionizes mathematics education, and it revolutionizes the way the engineers and scientists do math. It's even more revolutionary than the scientific calculator was that came out in 1972 that made the slide rules and log tables obsolete. So we now use Wolfram Alpha, like in conic sections, circles, parabolas, ellipses, hyperbolas, and so on, and just on and on. Now, the big thing about math for science and STEM are functions, and you have to learn how to create them and analyze them and graph them, and this is where Wolfram Alpha is absolutely fantastic. It's just hard to believe. It's almost like magic. I won't get into more details on it, but 2009 it was introduced. And by the way, it's the basis of other things. If you have an iPhone and you use Siri, that's based on Wolfram Alpha. By the way, there would not be an iPhone today if it wasn't for Wolfram Alpha and Wolfram Language and Mathematica. And I talk about that in other videos. Well, this is trigonometry now, and most of this is out of Simmons' book with some additional things that I throw in that are needed. So you might call this pre-calculus. Now, I do complex numbers in Tier 4, and this is never done today in high school. In fact, it's not even done in early college properly, and this is necessary to understand STEM. And complex numbers are very easy to understand when they're properly presented, particularly when you have the wonderful tools we have today. And so this is something that is not done in high schools as far as I know. I don't know of any high schools that do it this way, and it's not in very many books. It's usually not done until later on in college in more advanced courses. And then we have special topics that we cover. Geometry, then, some special topics in geometry. I won't get into it, but these are all wonderful, wonderful things that if you're going to go to college. And then in Tier 5, I do calculus. Now, calculus has been historically a barrier for STEM students because they use all the old manual tools developed by our ancestors in the 1700s and the 1800s, and they're very hard to use, they're very hard to learn. Well, Wolfram Alpha changes all that. They're all obsolete now. And Wolfram Alpha now makes this extremely easy to do. And so that's what I do. And in fact, now you can learn all the calculus you'll ever need for science and engineering in one semester. It's very easy to do. And this is what, now you can download the table of contents to see specifically what we do. And that's what I'm doing now. And you can see, of course, these are all videos with exercises and quizzes, all delivered through our brand new learning management system. And that's our Tier 5. Now, we actually have Tier 6, which is differential equations, which is never taught in high school, and it can be today thanks to Wolfram Alpha. And it's another one-semester course. And once a student has gone through Tier 5, then we allow them then to take Tier 6 if they want to for differential equations. So that's what we've done in the last 7 years. It's just there's a tremendous amount of work that's gone into the creation of these programs and into the websites and so on. And I mentioned Homeschooler today. Well, this is where I uploaded the PDF. Okay, and this is Workforce Math I mentioned. Now, something that's come about since 2009. In 2016, an absolutely marvelous thing was introduced. We're called Wolfram Language. It is a revolutionary new tool. And in fact, in my book, let's see if I can find it. In my book, I talk about it in an addendum that you really, if you're interested in STEM math and in modern math education, you need to go and read the addendum on 21st century communication. And will tell you all about Wolfram Language. Wolfram Language is absolutely an incredible thing, and it was introduced to the world in 2016, and it's a whole new type of computer programming language that anybody can learn, and it ought to be the first one you learn because you could do fantastic things with it that you cannot do with other languages like Python and Java and so on. And turns out that was embedded in something called the Raspberry Pi, and we put that together in a product we call the supracomputer. So you go to supracomputer.org, and this is revolutionary. And part of this, when you go there, I will invite you to take what I call the STEM Math Challenge. If you're going to go to MIT and compete with international students, this is a test, a quiz you can take, 12 questions, and if you can do it in less than an hour, you're ready to compete. If you can't do it in less than an hour, you need to take our training, because when you get done with our training, you'll be able to do it in less than an hour. We've also, we're giving away now the book that I told you about, and you go and we're using a website we've created called vastlysuperiormath.com to give away the book. And this is a marketing campaign we have, and you get a lot more than that. You get the book, other things, but over here now, at least for now, I don't know how long this is going to last, we're giving away the calculator course, the first 12 lessons. It's a $47 product on our Homeschooler Math website, and we're giving it away. And this is the way we're introducing. We can do that because of our new learning management system we're just introducing. We couldn't do that with our old system. We can do it now. And not only that, the videos play on an iPad or anything else because they're MP4 videos. That wasn't true of the old Flash system. So we have a brand new system we just introduced and developed this summer. We're introducing in 2020, 2 weeks from now. How about that? STEM Math Made Easy is a website that we've developed where we talk about that, and this corporation is a not-for-profit. It's a 501c3. So if you know anyone that likes what we're doing and wants to make a donation that we can then use to help all sorts of people that otherwise can't afford things, you can go to STEM Math Made Easy and make a donation. We're a 501c3, and we're accepting donations for that. So we have something we developed called the STEM Math Academy. We have not introduced to the world yet. I don't know when we're going to do it, but we may one of these days introduce it. And this is getting high school students ready for STEM. And how that will go depends on the future and how things develop. So these are the things we've done since the last part, since I did my Vita in 2013. We're 7 years later now. And the team has been fantastic. The supporters, the investors, the contributors have been fantastic. I can't tell you how excited I am. I feel like now we are just on the threshold of really, really now going exponentially. In fact, our stockholders are very excited because they know that if we are successful, their stock is going to become extremely valuable. And the reason that is because we're going to give so much value to the families. If you go and look at our family plan at Homeschooler Today and look at our family plan and go down and look about the curriculum and look at the pricing, not come over to the curriculum, what you'll see there is the family plan. We deliver all of this training to a family for $25 a month for one student. And if they got multiple students, it only goes up $5 a month for each additional student. So it's less than $1 a day, and they get the best possible math training they could get, and we teach them how to be a coach. When you train a student remotely, whoever's doing the remote training, in this case it's me, I'm the teacher, but I can't have a personal relationship with the coach, and you need a coach. So if you go look at our book, see if I can find it, I go up here in chapter 7 and 8, I talk about in chapter 7 why you've got to have both a teacher and a coach to teach math. It's very critical you understand that pedagogically. Well, when you do it remotely, then I can be the teacher, but I can't coach your student. But you, the parent, can be the coach. And chapter 8 tells you how to do it. And it's common sense. You probably would read chapter 8 and say, oh, well, that makes sense. I knew that, or I understand it. But so I am actually teaming up with the parents or whomever they want to assign to be a coach with somebody locally that has a relationship with the student. I'm the teacher, they're the coach, and this is the great combination. And by the way, if you want to know why our current curriculum is failing and our public schools are failing, chapters 9 and 10 explain that. This is for people that want to know what's wrong with our public schools. Why are they failing? And everybody knows they're failing in math. And by the way, they're failing all of our students, not just the ones that are flunking out and getting discouraged and dropping out of school and all that. They're failing our best students that want to go to great schools like Rose-Hulman or MIT or Purdue. They're failing them too. They're not giving them the math they need. And that's when I explain all this in chapter 9 and 10. I also have a chapter 11 on the financial facts of life, and I think any young person should read this because this is how you can go forward in your life and earn a good living, whether you go to college or not. And if you do decide to go to college, and some should, not everyone, how to do it without incurring debt. Chapter 11, how do you go to college and not incur debt, assuming your parents can't afford anything? Well, I tell you that in chapter 11. It's absolutely amazing. And then I talk about the future of our economy and the future of our society. And then if you happen to want to be a future mathematician, if you really, really think you want to be a mathematician, chapter 14 is a must read because I'm a mathematician. I have a PhD in math, as you know, from my Vita. And I know a lot about mathematicians. I am one. And so I'm going to tell you what it's about being a mathematician. I have 3 children, and one of them thought about being a mathematician. She majored in math and computer science. And she realized that mathematics was probably not the field for her. She went into computer science. Today she's a full professor of computer science and a dean and has a great career. There's very few people, by the way, that should go into mathematics. I'll tell you that right now. It's just like there's very few people that should try to make a career out of basketball or football or anything like that. To be a successful mathematician is extremely challenging, and I don't recommend it to very many people. Now, there are people that should do it, but they're rare. But you do need mathematics for science and engineering, and that's what I teach in the first 6 tiers. If you're going to be a future mathematician, you need the last 4 tiers, which very few people would ever need or want. And by the way, I haven't developed them yet. That's some future project. But I am through the first 6 tiers, which takes you through STEM math, all the way through differential equations. So, this is Craig Hane. This is part 3. This now brings you up to date in what I have done and what our company's done and what our team has done in the last 7 years. And so we're just getting ready for the new decade of 2020. My golly, technology is just mind-boggling what's happening today and how fast it's growing. I have a video I'll soon be adding to my video library that's not there, but I've already created it. And it's called something to the effect of ignorance, how much ignorance I have. Bathed in Ignorance is called. The more we learn, the more we know we don't know. And things are happening so fast today. There's so many things that none of us were learning as we go. And that's, I think, will be a very, very, very interesting video. And I think that's going to be the next video we add to this series. And I think in the future, knowing myself, I'll be adding, hopefully, God willing, a lot more videos. But this right in here will be a video called Bathed in Ignorance, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's something I think every human being and every parent today needs to know, and all students, I think, need to watch it, because it's very easy today to think you know things you don't know, and to not be aware of things that are going to come along and impact your life dramatically, especially in this day and age. The analogy would be, you're really great at making horse and buggies, and you love horse and buggies, and you build them, and you repair them, and you love them, and along comes Henry Ford and the Model T Ford. And guess what happened to people whose careers were horse and buggies? Within a decade, they were gone, essentially. They were still horse and buggy, but they were rare. And so the career you wanted to undertake at that point in time, in the early 1900s, of course, would be automotive, if you wanted to be in the transportation business, how to build and repair automobiles and that sort of thing. Oh, that was the future. Well, we have that today with many technologies. A lot of the jobs today are going to be gone, but many more jobs are being created, and you got to be prepared for them. And that's what I talk about in these videos and in my book. And so I strongly encourage you to watch these 2 videos I mentioned earlier, and then, if necessary, go to my book and read my book. In fact, I think every parent today should read this book. Because when I say homeschool math, this could be, any parent could do this with their child at home school. A lot of my math training, I went to public schools, but I learned a lot of my math from home, starting with my Uncle Jack. I talk about in my Uncle Jack videos, which you can use. And I think that you need it. So any parent today can homeschool their child in math. You may not want to homeschool them in any other subject, and you want them to go to public schools for sociability. That's fine, but you can still give them the math training because it's very inexpensive, very easy to do, and we have parents doing that now with their students, and we have older adults doing it. They say, hey, I graduated from high school a few years ago, and I want to go into some sort of a technical career. Can you help me? Sure. And we have some taking the program very successfully. And by the way, you can go through all 5 tiers, assuming you say want to go into science. Well, you go through the first 2 tiers in a month or 2. And now you're ready for workforce math. You go work this workforce math program, which gets you ready for the military and technical careers. You could do that in a month or 2 or 3. Full time, you could probably do it in 2 weeks. I've had students actually go through it in 2 weeks if they're doing it full time. And then if you want to go into science and engineering, you got to go through tier 5. You could do all that. If you work full time, you do it in less than a year. But part time, most people are part time, and part time is actually better usually. Let it soak in, takes time, 2 or 3 years. I could take a student today that's 12 years old, and if they're reasonably gifted at math, they don't have to be a genius, just reasonably competent at math with a decent memory and a good work ethic, I can have them all the way through tier 6 by the time they're 16 or 17 years old and ready for college. And they'll be better prepared going to MIT than just virtually any high school graduate from any ordinary public or private school. Okay, well, this is Craig Hane. This is my part 3, and I'm 81 years old. I just turned 81 recently. I'm in my 82nd year. Thank God, I seem to be very healthy. I'm very happy. I'm having a great life. I love it. And who knows, maybe in another 5 or 10 years, I'll need to do a part 4 and bring you up to date on what has happened then. But that's where we are today. Very exciting. I'm very excited, and I urge you to go get your book, get your free copy, and read it if you're interested all in math education. And you'll watch some of my videos, and I will see you on some other videos. Craig Hane, I wish you a great life.